Hey everybody, Shannon Bushman with XXX Off-Road again with another installment of our build-up of our Borneo Expedition 09 RZR S. When we called around and asked a lot of people, hey, what are the kind of weak points, things we ought to really worry about on our system, our entire rig, what is it that we need to do? We got a universal, hey, you ought to call Harry out at ThunderHawk. ThunderHawk makes a whole series of products that support the RZR and actually multiple different types of rigs. Go check them out at thunderhawk.com. It's ThunderHawk Performance, I'm sorry. Anyway, they make a phenomenal collection of products. One of the initial things is we want to put a 5-point harness on our RZR S. That means that we'll have an anti-submarine belt, also known as a crotch strap. Well, guess what? There's nowhere on a RZR to mount that crotch strap reasonably well. So what we got is these mounting brackets from ThunderHawk. These actually mount down below the seat, pretty much between your legs, and give a point, a nice solid point. These are pretty heavy pieces of steel sandwiched together to mount that strap to. It comes with all the nuts and bolts, everything you need to hook it up and get it in place. So can't wait to get that on. We'll show you how it looks. The other pieces we were pointed to specifically were the upper rear shock mounts on the RZR, kind of being a little weak. We've never actually physically bent ours, but you know what? We don't want to mess with that. We know that this is going to take a lot of abuse, maybe even just in the shipping process. We've had a few recommendations to do things like disconnect the shock, so we're a little concerned about the shipping process. But these are some heavy-duty pieces of metal that simply sandwich the stock mounting brackets on the upper shock in the rear. You can see they kind of sandwich together, but really a pretty simple process. Comes with all the nuts and bolts that we need. I'm figuring this will probably take us 10-15 minutes to install, but give us a lot of reliability that we're looking for on this rig. So I'm looking forward to getting that installed. The other thing that RZR's got a little bit of a reputation for, I've never bent one, but I've heard that there's a bit of a chassis stiffening problem. I think it's some of you guys that like to jump these things a little too much that have kind of spun this up. But this is a really nice, solid piece. Now, I've seen a couple of these. In fact, on our other RZR, we had some chassis sifters from another manufacturer. Boy, they are nothing like this. This is a very quality cut and finished piece and has some very specific components on it that match the RZR S configuration. So first, these actually just slip right into the rear and to the front chassis open tubes. Now, we'll show you where those are in a little bit, but as we go to install this. But once they're in, they actually use this kind of expansion joint mechanism to keep them in place. So there's some slits drilled here, and as you tighten that bolt, it expands just ever so slightly to keep it in place. Now in this particular piece, there's a hole drilled here, and you'll see that there's a spot on the RZR where there's a bolt that needs to go into that tube. So we need to line that up and allow that bolt a place to fasten and plug in. There are a total of 6 of these pieces. So there's 4 that go in the rear and 2 that go in the front. Pretty much the same easy installation. The ones from the front, you sort of need to either drop the belly pan or get to the inside, but it's really easiest to drop the the skid plate off of the RZR, and then you'll actually see where they go on the front. The ones on the rear are just obvious where they go. Comes with a complete set of instructions. One of the things I particularly like about the way ThunderHawk does this, when they package these 2 pieces were wrapped together. The instructions are attached for these 2 pieces wrapped in the plastic, so you really can't lose your instructions on any of this stuff. So, and they're actually quite detailed photographs and good pictures about how to install it. The final piece that we have, and this is one of the pieces I'm really excited about, this is a gas tank armor. We're going to put a skid plate, which is plastic, on the RZR, and it flexes a little bit. We don't want anything necessarily flexing into our fuel tank. So this piece bolts right up onto the bottom of the fuel tank, protects the outside edge where you kind of tend to get that passenger seat up on a rock or something and maybe pressure it through and tear the tank. This will give us a little bit of added protection there. And again, as you can see, they do a great job. There's another small bracket here that you use to bolt this on. But all the nuts and bolts are all sandwiched to this thing. So even with the chaos that I've got going here, I'm not going to lose any of this. Looking forward to getting all this installed. We'll get you some shots and tell you how it looks. and when we get back, we'll let you know how it all worked. But between the upper shock mounts and the chassis stiffeners, the gas tank protector, and these really coolio crotch strap mounts, we think we're in pretty good shape, and we really thank Harry out at ThunderHawk Performance for hooking us up with that. Something that we really needed, beef up our rig a little bit. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned.